parents and children, sibling rivalry, families. Since the beginning of time, these relationships have been rich in love and nurturance at their best, and filled with pain and even danger at their worst. Needless to say, they have also been a source of material for every poet, author, or playwright who ever put pen to paper. Tonight, we will treat you to a taste of Shakespeare's banquet of family life. These 5 excerpts will tantalize you with passion, deceit, love, jealousy, and even treachery. We will present only a small sample of these plays, but we hope it is enough to give you a sense of some of the best writing about some of the most dysfunctional families ever created. Our first selection is from King Lear. This scene concentrates on the manipulation and conflicts between a famous father and his 3 daughters. The map of England is presented by King Lear, showing his conquered lands and the manner in which they will be divided for his successors. Of course, there's a catch. The land is not evenly divided, and he then asks each daughter, "Which of you doth love me the most?" The answer will obviously determine the relative size of her portion of his kingdom. With false sincerity, Goneril, the eldest, and Regan both profess the depths of their love for him. Lear eagerly awaits Cordelia's response, since she is the youngest and his most beloved daughter. Cordelia, however, devastates Lear by being honest and refusing to tell him that she would always love him above all others. Lear, hurt and infuriated, disowns and banishes Cordelia. Confronting her sisters, Cordelia tells them that she knows their flattery was merely a ploy to obtain a larger portion of their father's kingdom. Goneril and Regan disdainfully dismiss Cordelia and immediately begin plotting to rid themselves of their father as soon as possible.
We shall express our darker purpose. See you the map. Know that we have divided in 3 our kingdom, and 'tis our fast intent to shake all cares and business from our age, conferring them on younger strengths, while we, unburthened, crawl toward death. We have this hour a constant will to publish our daughter's several dowers, that future strife may be prevented now. So tell me, my daughters, since now we will divest us both of rule, interest of territory, cares of state, which of you shall we say doth love us most? Goneril, our eldest born, speak first.
Sir, I loved you more than words can wield the matter, dearer than eyesight, space, and liberty, beyond what can be valued, rich or rare, no less than life with grace, health, beauty, and honor. As much as a child ere love or father found, a love that makes breath poor and speech unable. Beyond all matter of so much, I love you.
What shall Cordelia do? Love and be silent.
What says our second daughter, our dearest Regan? Speak.
Sir, I am made of the self-same metal as my sister, therefore prize me at her worth. In my true heart, I find that she names my very deed of love, only she comes too short. I find myself enemy to all joys which the most precious sense of anything possesses, and find I am alone, felicitate in your dear Highness's love.
Then poor Cordelia. And yet, not so, since I'm sure my love's more richer than my tongue.
And now our joy, although the last not the least, what can you say to draw a third more opulent than your sisters? Speak.
Nothing, my lord.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Nothing will come of nothing. Speak again.
Unhappy that I am, I cannot heave my heart into my mouth. I love your majesty according to my bond, nor more, nor less.
How now, Cordelia? Mend your speech a little, lest it may mar your fortunes.
Good my lord, you have begot me, bred me, loved me. I return those duties back to you as are right fit. Obey you, love you, and most honor you. But why have my sisters husbands if they say they love you all? Happily, when I shall wed that lord whose hand must take my plight, shall carry half my love with him, half my care and duty. Sure, I shall never marry like my sisters, to love my father all.
But goes your heart with this?
Aye, good my lord.
So young and so untender.
No, so young, my lord, and true.
Let it be so. Thy truth then be thy dower. From whom do we exist and cease to be? Here I disclaim all my paternal care, propinquity, and property of blood, and as a stranger to my heart and me, hold thee from this forever. Come not between the dragon and his wrath. I loved her best, and thought to set my rest on her kind nursery. Hence, and avoid my sight. So let my grave be my peace, as here I give her father's heart from her. For we have no such daughter, nor shall ever see that face of hers again. Therefore, be gone! Without our grace, our love, our benison.
The jewels of our father with washed eyes, Cordelia, leaves you. I know what you are, and like a sister am most loath to call your faults as they are named. Use well our father. To your professed bosoms I commit him, but yet, alas, stood I within his grace, I would prefer him to a better place. So farewell to you both.
Prescribe now to us our duty.
Sister, it is not a little I have to say of what most nearly appertains to us both. I think our father will hence tonight.
Well, that's most certain, and with you, next month, with us.
You see how full of change his age is, and with what poor judgment he hath now just cast her off, appears too grossly.
'Tis the infirmity of his age, and yet he has ever but slenderly known himself.
Even in his soundest and best of times were none too rash. Pray you, let's hit together. If our father carries authority with such disposition as he bears, this last surrender of his will but offend us.
We shall further think on it.
We must do something, and indeed.
How does this story end? Well, I can tell you that before it's over, You can expect treachery, betrayal, adultery, murder, and yes, redemption through love. Our next presentation comes from Romeo and Juliet. Prior to this scene, Romeo and Juliet have secretly wed and consummated their marriage. Unfortunately, Romeo has killed Juliet's cousin Tybalt, and as a result, Romeo is doomed to exile. Juliet's parents, in order to cheer her up from her depression over her cousin's death, announce that they have arranged a wonderful marriage to the wealthy and handsome Count Paris. Juliet, unwilling to reveal her marriage to Romeo, but obviously unable to marry Paris, is in a very tight spot. Let us watch how she deals with her parents and how her parents respond. In this scene, Juliet is seen praying for her husband Romeo, praying for him to be safe from harm, while she is visited by her father and her mother.
What? How, daughter, are you up?
Who is it that calls? Is it my lady mother? Is she not down so late or up so early? What unaccustomed cause procures her hither?
Why, how now, Juliet?
Mother, I am not well.
Evermore crying for thy cousin's death. What wilt thou, wash him from his grave with tears? And even if thou couldst not make him well, or make him live again, so therefore have done. Some grief shows much of love, but much of grief shows still some want of wit.
Yet let me weep for such a feeling of loss.
So shall you feel the loss, but not the friend which thou weepest for.
Feeling so the loss, I cannot choose but ever weep the friend.
Well, girl, thou weepest not so much for his death, but that the villain lives who slaughtered him.
What villain, madam?
Oh, that same villain, Romeo. But now, I'll tell thee joyful tidings, girl.
And joy comes well in such needy times. What are they? I beseech your ladyship.
Well, well, thou hast a careful father, child, one who, to put thee from thy heaviness, hath sorted out a certain day of joy, one that thou expectest not, no, nor I, look not for.
Madam, in happy times, what day is that?
Marry, my dear child, early next Thursday morn, the gallant, young, and noble gentleman, the Count Paris, shall happily make thee at St. Peter's Church a joyful bride.
Now by St. Peter's Church, and Peter too, he shall not make me there a joyful bride. I wonder at this haste that should be he ere husband comes to woo. I pray you, tell my lord and father, madam, I will not marry yet. And when I do, it shall be Romeo, whom you know I hate, rather than Paris. These are news indeed.
Here comes your father. Tell him so yourself, and see how he will take it at your hand.
How now? Oh. A conduit girl? What? Still in tears? Evermore showering? How now, wife? Have you delivered to her our decree?
I said that she will not. She gives you thanks. I wish the fool were married to her grave.
Oh, soft. Take me with you. Take me with you, wife. What? Was she none? Is she not proud? Does she not give us thanks? Does she not count her blessed? Unworthy as she is, that we have wrought so worthy a gentleman to be her bridegroom?
Not proud that you have, but thankful that you have. Proud can I not be of that which I hate, but thankful, even for hate that is meant love.
How now?
How now, chop logic? What is this? Proud and I thank you not, and yet not proud? Mistress Minion, you thank me no thankings, nor proud me no prouds. But fettle your fine joints on Thursday next, and get thee with Paris to St. Peter's Church, or I will drag thee on a hurdle thither. Out, you green sickness carrion. Out, you baggage, you tallow face.
Fie, what are you, mad?
Oh, good my father, I beseech you on my knees to hear me but a word.
Oh, hang thee, young baggage, disobedient wretch. I'll tell thee what. Get thee to church next Thursday, or never after look me in the face again. But speak not, reply not, do not answer me. Oh, my fingers itch. Wife, I scarce thought us blessed that God had lent us but this only child. But now I see this one is one too much, and that we have a curse in having her. Out on her, Hilding.
You are too hot.
Oh, God's bread, it makes me mad. Day, night, hour, time, tide, alone, together, work, play. Still, my care has been to have her matched. And having now provided a gentleman of noble parentage, youthful and nobly trained, of fair countenance, stuffed, as they say, in fair proportion, and proportioned as one would think a man. And then, to have a wretched, puling fool, a whining mammet, in her fortune's offer to answer, I cannot love, I will not wed, I am too young, I pray you, pardon me. But, and you will not wed? I'll pardon you. Graze where you will, you shall not house with me. Look to it. Think on it. I do not use to jest. Thursday is near. Lay hand on heart, advise, and you will be mine. I'll give you to Paris. But if you do not, hang, beg, starve, die in the street, for by my soul, I'll never acknowledge thee. Nor what is mine shall never do thee good. Trust to it. Bethink you, I'll not be forsworn.
Is there no pity in the clouds that sees into the bottom of my grief? Oh, sweet my mother, cast me not away.
Oh, talk not to me, for I will not speak a word. Oh, do as thou wilt, for I'm done with thee.
Juliet is in a tough spot. She's wondering how and when she will be rejoined with her vanished husband, Romeo. Returning to our tragedy of King Lear, we would like to introduce to you a character with whom you may not be familiar. His name is Edmund, and he is the bastard son of Gloucester. Who is Gloucester? Well, Gloucester is a friend of King Lear and also a member of the cabinet. In this monologue, Edmund compares himself very favorably with his legitimate brother Edgar, but also reveals his murderous plans for Edgar. For this monologue, we're going to do something different. We're going to present two versions. The first will be a modern English translation from the book No Fear, Shakespeare. I'd like to recommend these books for those of you who have decided to embark on a deeper understanding of Shakespeare's plays. The script has an interesting layout. Each right-hand page has the No Fear translation, and each left-hand page, Shakespeare's words, making it easy to compare. This monologue is very often performed by actors auditioning for a Shakespearean role. I think you'll understand why after you hear Glenn's 2 renditions. Remember, the first is the No Fear translation, followed by the Bard's original words.
I only worship what's natural, not what's man-made. Why should I let myself be tortured by man-made social customs that deprive me of my rights simply because I was born 12 or 14 months later than my older brother? Why call me bastard and lowlife when I'm just as gifted in mind and body as legitimate children? Why do they call us bastards lowlifes? Always lowlife, bastard, lowlife, lowlife. At least we bastards were conceived in a moment of passionate lust, rather than in a dull, tired marriage bed where half-sleeping parents monotonously churn out a whole band of sissies. All right, then. Legitimate Edgar. I have to have your lens. Our father loves me just as much as legitimate Edgar. What a nice word. Legitimate. Well, my legitimate Edgar, if this letter works, and my plan succeeds, Edmund the lowlife will beat the legitimate. Look out, I'm on my way up. 3 cheers for bastards. Thou, nature, art my goddess. To thy laws my services are bound. Wherefore should I stand in the plague of custom and permit the curiosity of nations to deprive me, for that I am some 12 or 14 moonshines, leg of a brother? Why, bastard, wherefore base? When my dimensions are as well compact, my mind as generous, and my shape as true as honest madam's issue, why brand they us with bastardy, with baseness? Bastard, base, base. Who, in the lusty stealth of nature, yet more configuration, more savage attitude than honest madam's issue. Well, our father's love is to the bastard Edmund as to legitimate Edgar. Fine word, legitimate. Well, my legitimate, if this letter speed and my invention thrive, Edmund the bastard shall top the legitimate. I grow, I prosper. Now you gods stand up for bastards!
fourth and fifth scenes come from Hamlet. In the first scene, we meet Polonius, the prime minister, and his adult children, Laertes and Ophelia. Ophelia has fallen in love with Hamlet, but her brother Laertes attempts to warn her that her relationship with Hamlet can only mean disgrace to the family. It will never lead to marriage, since Hamlet is the Prince of Denmark and she is a commoner. Polonius enters and proceeds to give Laertes parental advice regarding his behavior during his new assignment in France. Polonius' speech will ring with familiarity to every parent, and surely every child will recognize the message. After Laertes exits, Polonius questions Ophelia about her relationship with Hamlet. She tells her father about her feelings for him. Polonius is quite upset, delivers an admonishing lecture about the dangers of this involvement.
My necessaries are embarked. Farewell. And sister, as the winds give benefit and convoy is assistant, do not sleep, but let me hear from you.
You doubt that?
For Hamlet and the trifling of his favor, think it a fashion and a toy in blood, a violet in the youth of primy nature. Forward, not permanent, sweet, not lasting, the perfume and suppliance of a minute, no more.
No more, but so?
Perhaps he loves you now. His will is not his own, for he himself is subject to his birth. Then if he says he loves you, fear it, Ophelia, fear it, my dear sister, and keep you in the rear of your affection out of the shot and danger of desire. Be wary then. Best safety lies in fear. Youth to itself rebels, though none else near.
I shall the effect of this good lesson keep as watchman to my heart. But, good my brother, do not, as some ungracious pastors do, show me the steep and thorny way to heaven, whilst, like a puffed and reckless libertine, himself the primrose path of dalliance treads.
Oh, fear me not. I stay too long, but here my father comes.
There. My blessings with thee. And these few precepts in thy memory. See thou character, give thy thoughts no tongue, nor any unproportioned thought his act. Be thou familiar, but by no means vulgar. Those friends thou hast and their adoption tried, grapple them to thy soul with hoops of steel. But do not dull thy palm with entertainment of each new hatched, unfledged comrade. Beware, of course, entrance to a quarrel. But, being in, bear it that the opposed may beware of thee. Give every man thy ear, but few thy voice. Take each man's censure, but reserve thy judgment. Costly thy habit as thou purse will buy, but not expressed in fancy, rich, not gaudy, for the apparel must proclaim the man. Neither a borrower nor a lender be, for loan oft loses both itself and friend, and borrowing dulls the edge of husbandry. This above all, to thine own self be true, and it must follow as the night the day, Thou canst not then be false to any man. Farewell. My blessing seizes this is it.
Most humbly do I take my leave, my lord.
The time invites you. Go, your servant's tent.
Farewell, Ophelia, and remember well what I have said to you.
'Tis in my memory locked, and you yourself shall keep the key of it.
Farewell.
What is it, Ophelia, he hath said to you?
So please you, something touching the Lord Hamlet.
Mary, all bethought 'tis told me, for he hath, of late, been very close in audience to you, and you yourself have been most free and bounteous. And if it be so, as so 'tis put to me, and by way of caution, I must tell you, you do not understand yourself so clearly as it behooves my daughter and your honor. What is it between you? Give me up the truth.
He hath, my lord, of late, made many tenders of his affections for me.
Oh, affections, pooh. You speak like a green girl, unsifted by such perilous circumstance. Do you believe his tenders, as you call them?
I do not know, my lord, what I should think.
Oh. Mary, let me teach you. Think yourself a baby, that you've taken these tenders as true pay, which are not sterling. Tender yourself more dearly.
My lord, he hath importuned me with love in honorable fashion,
Aye, fashion you may call it. Go to, go to.
and hath given countenance to his speech, my lord, with almost all the holy vows of heaven.
This is for all. I would not, in plain terms, from this day forth, have you so slander any moment's leisure as to give words or talk with the Lord Hamlet. Look to it. I charge you. Come your ways.
I shall obey, my lord.
Ophelia is a very obedient daughter, but she is too deeply involved with Hamlet not to be caught in his downward spiral into madness. In our next scene from Hamlet, we meet Hamlet and his mother, Queen Gertrude. Hamlet's father, the previous king, has been killed by his own brother, Hamlet's uncle, who now sits on the throne. To make matters worse, Gertrude is now married to her former brother-in-law, whom she wed within a month of her husband's death. We eavesdrop as Hamlet angrily confronts his mother in an attempt to persuade her to leave his uncle. He ends by accusing her of betraying her husband's memory and marrying with his father's murderer.
Now, Mother, what's the matter?
Hamlet, thou hast thy father much offended.
Mother, you have my father much offended.
Oh, come, you answer with an idle tongue.
Go, you question with the wicked tongue.
Why, how now, Hamlet?
What's the matter now?
Have you forgot me?
Oh, no, by the rood, not so. You are the queen, your husband's brother's wife, and Were it not so, you are my mother.
Nay, then I'll set those you that can speak.
Come! Come. And sit you down. You shall not budge until I set you up a glass where you may see the most inmost part of
Will not do that? Will not murder me? Help!
Keep the wringing of your hands! Peace! And sit you down! And let me wring out your heart, for so I shall be made of penetrable stuff, if damned in custom, not brass that's so to make it proof and bulwark against sense.
Oh, what have I done that thou darest wag thy tongue in noise so rude against me?
Such an act that blurs the blush and grace of modesty, called virtue hypocrite, takes off the rose from a fair forehead and innocent love and sets a blister there.
I meet what act that roars so loud and thunders in the index?
Look here, upon this picture, and on this, the counterfeit presentment of two brothers. Look at what a grace was seated upon his brow. Hyperion's curl, the front of Jove himself, an eye like Mars to threaten and command, a combination of formity where every god did seem to set a seal to give the world assurance of a man. This was your husband! Look you now what follows. Here is your husband, like a mildewed ear, blasting his wholesome brother. Have you eyes? Huh. Have you eyes? For you cannot call love, for at your age the heyday of the blood is tame and humble and waits upon the judgment. And what judgment would step from this to this? Eyes without feeling, feeling without sight, but a sickly part of one true sense could not so mope. Oh, shame. Where is thy blush?
Oh, Hamlet, speak no more. Thou turn'st mine eyes into my very soul, and there I see such black and grained spots as will not leave their tints. Oh, speak to me no more. These words like daggers enter in mine ears. No more, sweet Hamlet.
Murderer and a villain. A slave that is not worth more than 20th part the tithe of your president lord. A vice of kings, a cupbearer to the empire and the rule, from which the shelf the precious diadem stole and put it in his pocket.
No more!
A king of shreds and patches.
Oh, gentle son, upon the flame and heat of thy distemper, sprinkle cool patience. Whereon do you look? Oh, Hamlet, thou hast cleft my heart in twain.
Oh, throw away the worst part of it and live pure with the other half. Good night. But go not to mine uncle's bed. Assume a virtue, if you have it not. Once more, good night. If thou desirest to be blessed, a blessing I'll beg of thee. So again, good night. I must be cruel, only to be kind.
Did Hamlet succeed in convincing his mother to leave his detested uncle, the one he believes murdered his father? If not, what will he do about it? Parental vanity, disappointment and anger, children's disobedience. These words were written over 400 years ago. And isn't it fascinating that they still ring true today? Well, I'm going to introduce the actors that you saw tonight. The first one is Cheryl Wirtz, who played Goneril in King Lear and Gertrude in Hamlet. Glenn Wirtz, who played Lear in King Lear and Edmund in King Lear. Jean Marie Garver, who played Regan in King Lear and Juliet's mother in Romeo and Juliet. David Luke, who played Juliet's father in Romeo and Juliet and Polonius in Hamlet. Kira Cohen in 3 roles, Cordelia in King Lear, Juliet in Romeo and Juliet, and Ophelia in Hamlet. And Eric Holzer, who played Hamlet. If anyone thinks Shakespeare is dead, we've decided to tell you some of the expressions he originally coined. We like to think of Shakespeare as the prince of punchlines. And here we go. If you cannot understand my argument and declare,
It's Greek to me.
you are quoting Shakespeare. If you claim to be,
More sinned against than sinning,
you are quoting Shakespeare. If you act,
More in sorrow than in anger.
if your
Wish is father to the thought.
if your lost property has,
Vanished into thin air.
you are quoting Shakespeare. If you have ever refused
To budge an inch.
or suffered from,
Green-eyed jealousy.
if you have played,
fast and loose,
if you have been,
Tongue-tied, a tower of strength. Hoodwinked.
or
In a pickle.
if you have
Knitted your brows, made a virtue of necessity.
insisted on,
Fair play. Slept not one wink. Stood on ceremony, danced attendance.
on your,
Lord and master, laughed yourself into stitches.
had,
short shrift, cold comfort,
or
Too much of a good thing.
if you have
Seen better days.
or lived,
In a fool's paradise.
why, be that as it may,
The more fool you.
for it is
A foregone conclusion.
that you are
as good luck would have it.
quoting Shakespeare. If you think it is,
Early days.
and clear out.
Bag and baggage.
If you think,
It is high time.
and that,
That is the long and short of it.
if you believe that,
The game is up.
and that,
Truth will out.
even if it involves your,
Own flesh and blood.
if you,
Lie low.
till,
The crack of doom.
because you suspect,
Foul play.
if you have,
Teeth set on edge at one fell swoop without rhyme or reason.
then,
To give the devil his due,
if the,
Truth were known.
for surely you have a,
Tongue in your head.
you are quoting Shakespeare. Even if you bid me,
Good riddance.
and
Send me packing.
if you wish I was,
Dead as a doornail.
if you think I am an,
eyesore,
a,
Laughing stock.
the,
The devil incarnate. A stony-hearted villain. Bloody-minded.
or a,
Blinking idiot.
then,
By Jove! Oh, Lord! Tut, tut! For goodness sake! What the dickens? But you know what? For it's all one to me.
you are quoting Shakespeare.
Are we doing bow?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, now we can do it.
We are going to end the program tonight by singing one of the most popular songs of the Renaissance period. It's called Greensleeves, and you heard a little bit of it when we started our program. I'd like you to, it's a ballad. It has 4 verses to it, and there's a little story connected with it.
Alas, my love, you do me wrong to cast me off discourteously, and I have loved you so long, delighting in your company. Greensleeves was all my joy. Greensleeves was my delight. Greensleeves my heart of gold and blue, but my lady Greensleeves, I have been ready at your hand to grant whatever you would crave. I have both wagered life and land, your love and goodwill for to have. Greensleeves was all my joy. Greensleeves was my delight. Greensleeves my heart of gold and blue, but my lady Greensleeves, thou couldst desire no earthly thing, how still thou hast in readily thy music still to play and sing, and yet thou wouldst not love me. Greensleeves was all my joy. Greensleeves was my delight. Greensleeves was my heart of gold and blue, and my lady Greensleeves. Well, I will pray to God on high that thou constantly mayest see, and death and once before I die, thou wilt vouchsafe to love me. Greensleeves was all my joy. Greensleeves was my delight. Greensleeves was my heart of gold and blue, but my lady Greensleeves.
Okay.
It's a knock.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hope you got the audition.